Indiana basketball was trying to set as many records as possible on the offensive end of the floor as they absolutely rout the Oregon Ducks.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day and the nation's #1 sports podcasting network. Thank you so much for tuning in on this live edition of Locked On Hoosiers on the YouTube channel. For those of you listening back on the audio version later on, as well as Indiana tried to set as many records as possible on the offensive end of the floor. Holy smokes, this game was so much fun to watch. Lamar Wilkerson is that dude, and Indiana picks up another win on the season. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here. We're breaking it down. 92-74 final score. Indiana beats Oregon. 6-point lead at the half. Indiana runs away with it in the second half. And there's so much to break down here. We'll do likes and dislikes. We'll talk about Lamar, and we'll talk about all the other things as well. But I'm glad that Indiana did what they needed to do. We went out there and just handled business. Did it help that you had one of the best performances in the history of Assembly Hall? Yeah, that helped. Did you necessarily need that against this Oregon team? Probably not, but it helps. And it's nice, and it's fun to watch. And Lamar Wilkerson is just a joy to watch play basketball. But there was something different tonight. And we've talked about this a couple of times this year. It's just kind of been randomized. And it's kind of been after certain games and certain moments. Indiana's offensive numbers, especially in the second half, were just stupid. I mean, one of the best halves of basketball you're ever going to see from a college basketball team. And we'll talk about why that is and what that means moving forward. But it looked different tonight. Indiana continued to do the things that has made them successful on the offensive end of the floor. Yes, they got it into the hands of one of the best scorers in the game right now. Lamar Wilkerson is one of the nation's best basketball players. He needs to be in discussions for several big-time awards. I'm talking Big Ten Player of the Year. I'm talking All-American. He needs to be in all of it, okay? He needs to be in those discussions. I think he's that good. But what Indiana did tonight wasn't just inbound the basketball, give it to Lamar, and say, go get a bucket. They ran screens. They used him as a screener, and then the pick and pop where he had open looks. They dribble drive. They got dribble penetration. They got to the lane. They move without the basketball. Folks, Indiana shared the basketball again this evening. I understand that Lamar had 41, but do you understand that Indiana made 30 shots as a team and 22 of those came off the hands of another player, of a teammate, aka an assist? That's basketball you can't stop. That's basketball you damn near can't teach. What Indiana's doing right now in a 92-74 win over the Oregon Ducks, 22 assists on 30 made shots, and the second half numbers are absolutely ridiculous. Indiana goes 18 of 22 in the second half. All 4 misses were from behind the arc. Indiana, this team did not miss a 2-point shot in the second half. I want you to wrap your brain around that for a second. Think about that for just a moment. Indiana, as a team, in 20 straight minutes of basketball, did not miss a 2-point shot. 18 of 22 from the floor, 7-11 from 3, and they dominate in the second half. 36-30. First half was fine. First half was okay. You won the last 4 minutes, and you definitely won the first 4 minutes. And the first half was okay. Nate Biddle didn't play good in the first half. That concerned me for the second half, right? I believe he was 1 for 6 in the first 20 minutes for Oregon. You can see that team is beat up. They were in foul trouble. Shout out to Lynn. That kid can play. Where'd he come from? Wei Lin? That kid's a baller, right? Apparently he was averaging 20 points a game in China. Who knew? And he played pretty well tonight. But you could see that Oregon team, they just don't have the dudes. They just don't have the talent. They just don't have the depth that they need to compete in Big Ten basketball right now. And they're not going to compete giving up 92 points to the Hoosiers, 41 of those to Lamar Wilkerson. So drop your thoughts in the YouTube comments. I want to hear from you. I want to see from you. Again, we're reacting as Indiana beats Oregon 92-74 inside of Assembly Hall before you hit maybe your toughest 2-game stretch. I don't know. You had some tough ones early. One of your toughest 2-game stretches of the season coming up with Illinois and Purdue. But we got to enjoy this one tonight. Another big win over the Ducks. That's always nice, right? Not just in football, huh? Indiana's got them a little revenge for basketball from last year, too, knocking us out of the Big Ten tournament, ultimately keeping us out of the NCAA tournament. But maybe that was a good thing. We just didn't know it yet. Some of the numbers here quickly. Actually, tell you what, need to tell you that this live show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Okay, football may be over, but the winter games are here. And if you're anything like us, you're looking in and you're ready for the events and only to see the biggest stage every 4 years. That's why following the winter games on FanDuel, it just makes sense, right? From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports that you care about the most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. So, snowboarding, skiing, you've got the luge, you've got curling. Saw it was on the other day. Saw it was on, I think, last night or this morning, whatever. You can get involved with all of that on FanDuel right now. So the winter games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. So FanDuel, play your game. Okay, again, we're talking Indiana and Oregon here as the Hoosiers just absolutely rout the Ducks. Some of the numbers. Outside of Lamar Wilkerson, we will talk about Lamar, I promise, okay? He just had the third best scoring performance we've ever seen in the history of Assembly Hall. That's pretty good. He owns both of them. Well, 2 of 3 of them, by the way. So, yes, 41 for Lamar. But I'm looking at 16 from Sam Alexis. I'm looking at 15 from Tucker DeVries. And I'm looking at 11 from Nick Dorn. And those are just the scoring totals. Okay, Indiana in this game beat Oregon in the rebounding total, 29-25. You beat them in your assist numbers, which I know you don't normally compare those. Indiana did turn the ball over 9 times. Most of those were in the second half. Most of those were coming down the stretch. Some tough passes that Indiana was trying to thread the needle. A lot of those in the first half too. But I look at Sam Alexis, who gave you 16 and 5, who went 8 for 8 from the floor. That's efficient for your big man. He did not miss a shot. He did miss a free throw. But 8 for 8 from the floor, we're going to highlight Lamar Wilkerson's offensive performance, but Sam Alexis deserves that and then some. Okay, he also gave you 5 boards and 2 assists. Nick Dorn didn't shoot great from the floor, 2 for 7. Gets to the free throw line, though. Puts in double-digit points, gets you 3 boards, 2 assists, and just 1 turnover. And then Tucker DeVries. We need to talk about Tucker. We do. We need to talk about him. I want to talk about him because he is finally starting to find his role on this team. 15 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists for Tucker DeVries. He had nearly a third of the assist of this basketball team tonight. He has found his role. He can still score. He can still make shots. He can still hit threes. He had 2 of them tonight. But you also see that he's a better player in the painted area. Whether he is shooting or facilitating, Tucker DeVries is a better player inside the painted area. Unless he's in a transition catch and shoot 3, that's the only time I want him really making an impact out there. Other than that, get to the lane. Good things happen. Yes, when Tucker DeVries touches the paint, but when this Indiana team touches the paint. How many times have we talked about that on Locked On Hoosiers right here about this Indiana team having to get to the lane, crunching the defense, spreading things out, and making it difficult for teams to defend you. When you're shooting like you did tonight, nobody can defend you. We know that. But this Indiana team looked efficient on offense, even, I'm not going to say without the 41 points, but it's the way you got those. It looked easy. It looked simple. Yes, that has something to do with Oregon's defense, but give Indiana credit. Give the Hoosiers credit tonight for going up against, 4 or 5 different defensive sets for the Ducks. And Darian DeVries, head coach for the Hoosiers, he talked about it. He said he was worried. He was scared to death of this Oregon team defensively because his team didn't have time to prepare. You just played a game on Saturday, and this is how you perform at home? This is what you needed. And Indiana was able to pretty much torch whatever defense Oregon threw at them. It really didn't matter. 2-3 zone, man-to-man, right? Didn't really a kind of a matchup zone they threw at you at times. Didn't matter. Indiana nearly broke more records tonight. I think Sam Alexis I think it's in Indiana basketball history. That may be one of the most efficient performances we've seen from a Hoosier on the hardwood. I'll see if I can find some of that. Good Lord. Here's a stat for you. In the second half, some of my basketball nerds in here will love this. Indiana scored 1.81 points per possession in the second half. 1.8 points per possession in the second half. That's absurd to think about. You were basically knocking down a bucket every time you walked down there. Basically. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. So Sam Alexis has one of the most efficient games we've ever seen. Lamar Wilkerson has one of the best scoring performances that we've ever seen. And Indiana routs Oregon again, 92-74. We need to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Lamar and just how awesome he is and how far he can carry this team. Plus likes and dislikes, all that here on Locked On Hoosiers. So stick around. This live edition of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Wayfair. The new year is here, and it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, like I do, then you may as well love how it looks and how it feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh, all in one place. So whether you're updating your living room or organizing your space, upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and your budget. I've got a TV stand from Wayfair. I've got a dresser from Wayfair. My roommates have a couch from Wayfair. We're looking at some lawn furniture, like some patio furniture, We're looking on Wayfair right now because we love it. Everything we get from there is good, it's quality, and it gets here fast. And that's what we love about it. So you need to check it out, okay? Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. This live edition of Locked On Hoosiers also brought to you by Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone that's willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria, like the skills, certifications, and location. And so if you need a stat that kind of says it all, in this segment that I've been talking to you, the minute and a half, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed's data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show right now, Locked On Hoosiers, you're going to get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way by using Indeed. All right, welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here, making this a part of your post-game routine for Indiana basketball as we continue talking Hoosiers and Ducks. And I don't know what's more fun. Was it talking about the first win for Indiana football over Oregon by 10 in Eugene? Was it the blowout in the college football playoff in the second matchup for football against the Ducks? Or is it when you beat them by nearly 20 and Lamar Wilkerson goes off for 41? I just can't, I don't know. I can't decide. They're all just so entertaining. They're all just so much fun. And it's so nice to beat the Oregon Ducks. Our buddy Spencer McLaughlin is out there somewhere. He's still celebrating a Seahawks championship, so he's probably doing okay, but Indiana's doing okay too. 92-74 final score. I see a bunch of you dropping stuff in the YouTube comments, so thank you for doing that. Continue to let me know your thoughts and your comments and your feelings about this Indiana team. Let's talk Lamar Wilkerson. All right, let's talk Lamar Wilkerson. He deserves a whole show. He deserves 30 minutes worth of conversation. But my goodness, he is so freaking good. I mean, what words have we not used on this show, on this channel, to describe the game of Lamar Wilkerson? He is going to go down as one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen in Indiana basketball. Now, I want you to sit back and think, especially some of you older guys in here and older ladies and older fans, okay? Think about all the greats that have come through Indiana basketball. The most recent, right, comparison, not the same position, but at least the most recent comparison in terms of just a pure score is Trace Jackson Davis, right? I'm thinking back to guards like Oladipo and those types of guys, but man, Lamar Wilkerson, he might just be the best scorer we've ever seen in the Cream and Crimson. I've never seen somebody who gets hot and just stays hot. And here's the crazy thing, right? As I pull up his stats again, 41 points for Lamar, 5 boards, 3 assists, and only 2 turnovers. 13 of 20 from the floor, 6 of 12 from downtown, and went 9 for 11 at the free throw line. And I know you heard it on the broadcast, whether you're watching TV, listening to radio, or doing some form of both. Lamar Wilkerson started 0 for 5. 0 for 5. He then proceeded to go 13 of 15. That is ridiculous. That is stupid. That is, it shouldn't be physically possible to do that, but he did. And he just put on one of the greatest performances we've ever seen inside of Assembly Hall, yes, but at Indiana. And he owns the best one we've ever seen inside of Assembly Hall when he dropped 44 points against Penn State, where Indiana had 113 as a team. He went 44 points in that game where he hit 10 threes, right? But in that game, you had 17 from Connerway, 13 from Dorn. You had 12 from DeVries, and that game was just insane. But this one was just as good. You didn't need 113 points tonight. You needed 75, and you got 92. And Lamar Wilkerson just finds different ways to do it. Here's what's crazy, and this was the point I was trying to make. I got distracted. He went 6 for 12 from behind the arc. That's only 18 of his 41. He hit 9 at the free throw line. Okay, so there's another 27. He still put in 14 points from 2-point range. Layups. I think that was a dunk. Are we calling that a dunk? We will. He had the crazy play in the far corner to coming down the stretch, the kind of dribble around, lose the basketball, throw up a tough shot and get it to go. He's got the floater game. He's got the jump shot. He's got everything. Lamar Wilkerson on the offensive end of the floor has everything you could possibly imagine, and he makes this team go. Plus, you get 16 from Alexis. You get 11 from Dorn. You get 15 from DeVries. That's it. That's all you needed, right? Connor Enright hit the big 3. You got nothing from Reed. I mean, you got a bucket from Reed Bailey, right? You got a field goal in the 1-for-1 on the and one. Connerway came back a little bit, but my goodness, at a night where you didn't need him, who cares? Josiah Miles didn't play a ton, and that's it. That's your team. That's who you're playing right now, right? Trent Sisley, Connerway, Bailey, and Miles just didn't get a whole lot of minutes. You're playing starters and you're playing them heavy, but why wouldn't you when you're getting that kind of production out of them offensively? So Lamar, is it safe to say, and it may be stupid obvious, I don't know, I guess this team will go as far as Lamar Wilkerson takes them. We've seen this team win games when he doesn't play great, but it's rare. And when he's playing the way he's playing, nobody can stop him. They can't. You can't prepare for somebody to go off for 40. And if for whatever reason, Indiana's upcoming opponents, I've got them pulled up right here. If Indiana's upcoming opponents of Illinois, Purdue, Northwestern, Michigan State, Minnesota, and Ohio State don't have Lamar Wilkerson circled in big red Sharpie on their scouting report. They do now. Everybody will be focused on slowing down Lamar Wilkerson. Not stopping. Notice I didn't say stopping. You can't stop it, but you can slow him down. And I think if you hold him to 20 or less, you have a good chance of beating this team, unless Indiana has production like they did tonight with Tucker DeVries scoring when he needed to, facilitating when he needed to. Sam Alexis playing grown-up big boy basketball. Love to see it. We're kind of in likes and dislikes here as we are coming down the home stretch, right? Drop yours in the YouTube comments. Sam Alexis playing the way he is. He's been one of the better players in the Big Ten as of the last week or so. 8 for 8 tonight. You can't deny it, right? And that's on both ends of the floor. Had another big boy block off the backboard that dang near went out to half court, right? Can you get production from Alexis? Can you get production from DeVries? Can you somehow find production from somebody else? If Connerway can come back from injury/illness, can you get something from Reed Bailey? Can you get something from, gosh, I don't know. I don't think DeVries is going to play Trent Sicily enough for him to be a contributor on this team. And I don't trust Connor Enright shooting the basketball consistently for him to be that scoring threat. So you're going to have to get some from Lamar, and other guys are going to have to step up. But another like for me was Indiana's defense tonight. Look at Oregon's shooting numbers, man. Their shooting numbers were bad. And not all of that is Indiana's doing, okay? Again, Biddle, I think, started, 1 for 6 in the first half. He was 1 for 6. Nate Biddle was. Simpkins was 1 for 6. You had several dudes in foul trouble, right? Kwame Evans picked up his fourth early in the second half. What was their difference in first half and shooting half? Oregon shot, well, actually wasn't terrible. They shot 40% in the first half. That's better than I thought. And then 50% in the second half. But for the game, they shot, about 45%. 7 of 19 from 3. They missed a bunch of free throws. Most of those were from Nate Biddle, weren't they? Yeah, he went 8 for 13. Ooh. They rebounded well, but not well enough. 17 of assists on 25 made shots for them. They fouled way too much. Indiana defended well without fouling. Most of those fouls came late in the second half when the game was already in the books. And so for Indiana, man, you played efficient tonight. One of the most efficient halves you're ever going to see. And all of that carried into the game itself. Yeah, Jake, saw this a little bit ago. How incredible is that? 1.8 points per possession in the second half is just, it's just unbelievable. Yeah, maybe sandbagging. Could be. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely, Sharon. This is what I was talking about. If Alexis keeps this up, she says we're hard to beat. And that's exactly right. Sam Alexis, here's a question for you guys. Are we seeing a shift in who the X factor is for this Indiana team? Because who did I say the X factor was to start this season? Who did I keep talking about here on this show on Locked On Hoosiers? Who is the X factor for this Indiana team? We knew what Lamar was. We were hoping we were going to get what DeVries was, which is a 15, 20 points per game scorer, right? We felt like those two guys were going to be the consistents. But the guy that I felt like was the X factor for this Indiana team was Tatum Connerway. But with the injury, with the sickness, and just his game being kind of up and down as of late, I think Sam Alexis has started to take that role. I think Sam Alexis wears that hat now. And I think you have a better chance because he's playing as a big, right? When Connerway was doing his thing, and I'd love for him to get back to that, don't get me wrong. But when Connerway was doing it, it was, all right, it's another guard, right? He plays the same style. Still love him getting downhill, getting to the paint. Kind of works the same way as Tucker DeVries, but it's the same style. You now have another scoring guard on the floor. Sam Alexis now gives you a big. He gives you a scoring big. He gives you a passing big. He gives you a rebounding big. He gives you a defending big. That's what Sam Alexis gives you. And God, wouldn't it be awesome if Reed Bailey could play like that the way he did the other day, right? With his big game, I forget who it was against, but you start getting both of them playing on a string to where you don't have to start them both. You don't have to play them both. I think there's times and opportunities to do so, but you can then bring one in and pull the other out and you don't feel the drop off as much, that would be incredible. It's a lot to ask, I think, especially, 9 or almost 10 days into February. But someone says Nick Dorn is an X factor too. I agree. I just don't know. God, I don't know. That may not be fair. I was going to say, I don't know if we can rely on that consistently, but Sam Alexis just started playing this way, right? It was Nick Dorn for a week and a half. Here it is now. It's Sam Alexis for a week and a half. So I don't know. I don't know if somebody else steps up and Sam Alexis falls off. I don't know if they all start stepping up and playing well, but the Indiana team we're seeing as of late is a tournament team, folks. It's a tournament team. Joe Lunardi is going to update his bracketology sometime tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning. Okay. We won't have time to talk about it on tomorrow's and on Tuesday's show, but we'll have more topics and conversations about it as we go. Well, man, Indiana's playing its best basketball of the season, and it's really not even close. You've won 5 of your last 6. The only loss was a tough one against USC on the road. Okay. Quad 1 loss. Fine. You now hit maybe the 2 toughest games in a row you've had all year. I think it is. I think this is the toughest 2-game stretch that Indiana's had all season. I know you played Nebraska and Michigan State back-to-back, but you had Nebraska at home and couldn't pull it off. I know you played Iowa and Michigan back-to-back, and you couldn't pull it off. But you now have back-to-back road games at number 8 Illinois and at number 13 Purdue. Those are as of today's AP Top 25. At number 8 Illinois and at number 13 Purdue. Illinois is on Sunday. I believe Purdue is next Friday. Is that right? It is. God, wouldn't it be awesome to win one? Just win one. Just to give it to the Big Ten one more time. Right? Because this is it. You do have one more big opportunity, Michigan State at home. Without looking at it, those are probably your 3 last quad 1 opportunities for this Indiana team. Tonight was not a quad 1. Heck, this could have been a quad 3, just to be honest with you. I'd have to look at it again at the net rankings, but Indiana's at Illinois on Sunday and at Purdue next Friday. You also have Michigan State, who comes in on March 1st. Those are your 3 last chances to get one more tournament resume building win. That's all you need. I think that's all Indiana needs is one more. One more to say, we're here, we belong, put us in the tournament, and let's see what happens. Let's get to work. Can't really afford a loss at home to Northwestern. You can't really afford a loss at home to Minnesota. And the game against Ohio State on the road, I don't really know. And for right now, I don't really care. I'm looking at Illinois on Sunday, Purdue on Friday, and that Michigan State game at home. Win one, and Indiana's in a good spot. If you get Lamar Wilkerson, who's trying to break scoring records, you got a good chance. If you get guys like DeVries and Alexis who rebound and pass the ball, get back defensively. Also, this Indiana team was so much faster than Oregon tonight. That kind of blew me away. I know Nate Biddle's not 100%, and he's a big guy anyway. Also, what people were chanting was really funny to me. I think mostly students, but nicely done. Indiana was so much faster than Oregon tonight. And I'll leave you with this. Indiana will be faster than a lot of the teams they play because of guys like Sam Alexis, who is your 5, I put in air quotes, but he can run like a gazelle. So can Wilkerson. So can Connor Enright. My goodness, when he gets the basketball, he just sprints. He's like running a 100-meter dash, man. He's just gone. Those guys can move. Nick Dorn can move. Use that to your advantage. And I think Indiana did a really, really good job of that tonight. So overall, the performance you were looking for. Did I expect 41 from Lamar? No, but maybe we should start doing that. Maybe we should start expecting that more from 3 and Cream and Crimson, because I'm telling you, man, enjoy him while we have him, because he ain't going to be here long. And he'll go down as one of the best scorers we've ever seen here in Bloomington. So Indiana wins big time over Oregon. Illinois coming up on Sunday afternoon. We're going to talk about this more throughout the rest of the week. We're going to talk about it leading into Sunday against the Illini with more basketball talk, of course, more football talk as well. So make sure you subscribe to the channel on Locked On Hoosiers. Make sure that you follow us on your audio podcasting platforms as well. And we really appreciate you spending today with us. So we are back tomorrow for another episode, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe and I'll talk to you later.